Let me make sure that the mic is good, the video is good. We're upstairs, so we're not downstairs in the studio. It is what it is. This is the check-in coming to y'all live. All right. We're trying something new, a new strategy. So we'll be live on all the platforms, but then as soon as the live is off, it'll only be available on Patreon. So with that being said, let me actually do this. Before we get into the actual check-in for today, if I may, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna put the link for the Patreon in the chat, just so y'all can have access to that. Y'all not complaining to me saying like I started off, I couldn't see the video, I saw the video. All right, so let's get to it today. Controlling the controllables. Controlling the controllables. Let me actually, I was talking to ChatGPT, one of my new best friends who I like to converse with, share different philosophies with, have these combos with. Let me ask ChatGPT, and I have a couple different famous quotes that I think are relevant to this topic of controlling the controllables. Now, what do I mean when I say controlling the controllables? The things that are within our control, focusing on that rather than focusing on the things that we cannot control. A lot of times we'll focus on external factors that we have no control over or limited control over, rather than pouring 100% into the things that you can say internally, or the things that we actually do have control over, whether it's sports, whether it's school, whether it's relationships, whether it's any aspect of life that we can think about. Does it make sense to worry about the things that we can't control? Because that time that we're spending worrying about this thing that's not within our control, it's like worrying about the weather. It is what it is. Let's just respond accordingly. Let's make sure that we're prepared to respond accordingly to whatever situation comes our way. So that way we don't have to worry about the situation coming our way. We've taken the time, effort, and energy to put into preparing for whatever comes and ensuring that we'll get the best results. All right, so let me ask ChatGPT something. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, what percentage of life is what we respond to, or how we respond to things, is determined by how we respond to things? Just to get some, I just want to get some clarity from my buddy ChatGPT. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Oh, ChatGPT loading a little bit. All right, so it gave me a popular quote. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. While this isn't a scientifically measured percentage, it reflects a widely accepted philosophical and psychological principle. Our responses, mindset, and attitude play a much larger role in shaping our experience in life than external events alone. There is no exact number, but many psychologists and thinkers agree that your response to circumstances has a far greater impact on your well-being, success, and overall life outcome than the circumstances themselves. So I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go Bible, scripture, philosopher. So I did a few. I want y'all to think about these scriptures and quotes, and think about how they may apply to you and may have applied to certain instances that you may have been involved in, or just certain circumstances that you faced and whether or not you were focusing on the things that were just in your control, or maybe worrying and spending time, effort, and energy into areas that you could not control. And how did it play out for you? Compare the situations. Compare the times where you just locked in and went 100% on what was in your control compared to the other things, and or compared to worrying about things that are not in your control. And what seems to me is, and we've, wow, now that I'm talking about it to you all, we've talked about this plenty of times where our minds are not able to focus on, if we tell our minds, I don't want this to happen, don't go broke, right? Our mind doesn't compute that. Our minds just understand what we're focusing on. So our mind just interprets that as, oh, broke, go broke, go broke. That's what we're focusing on. Our mind doesn't focus on don't go broke. Our mind doesn't focus on don't lose this game. Now we're just focusing on losing the game. Program our minds to focus on winning the game, focusing on what we are doing to win the game, all the things that we are going to control, that we have full control over, and focusing on those in order to have a favorable outcome. So this doesn't exactly pertain to it, but I think it pertains to the overall concept. So hear this out. This is Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Ironically, we're reading the power of now. There is no yesterday, is no tomorrow. The past is the past, the future. Focus on the present, being present. Because think about it, a lot of times the reasons why we're not putting all of our time, effort, and energy into the things that are within our control is because of a fear of something happening in the future that is not in our control. So instead of worrying about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself, each day has enough trouble of its own. We can't afford to worry about tomorrow. We can't afford to worry about the things that are not in our control. The only thing that we can afford to do, if we want to make sure that we're ensuring the outcome ending up the way we want it to, is if we put 100% of our time, effort, and energy into the things that are within our control. And then depending on how the circumstances play out, we respond accordingly. We respond accordingly. And with the preparation that we had going into it, telling ourselves, or not even telling ourselves, putting in the actual work, the actions, the effort into making sure that we are focused on the things that are within our control, we're going to put ourselves in the best possible position to respond accordingly to whatever situation comes our way. To whatever situation comes our way. So I want two other quotes. This is, oh man, I should have looked up how to pronounce this. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher. Y'all know we're big on Stoicism. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This captures the Stoic view of personal agency and surrender to what lies beyond it. Personal agency and surrender to what lies behind it. This almost reminds me of Buddhism in a lot of ways, but different, because the Buddhism is more so about not yearning for anything. However, this Stoic aspect focuses on personal agency. What can you control? Stop worrying about everybody else. Stop worrying about everything else. If it's an external factor, we have enough to worry about when it comes to the internal factors. Let's stress on the things. And when I say let's stress, I mean, let's lean into, let's focus on the things that are in our control. Let's worry about those things before worrying about the other things. We can't, it's almost like in sports. Have you ever been in a game or you see like the best teams? They're not overly concerned with what the other team is doing or what the other team may, throw some trick plays out there. They're focusing on doing their jobs to the best of their ability, because they know if they handle the things on their end, that they will be in a position to win at the end of the game if they just worry about themselves rather than being so focused on what the other team's doing. Now, of course, you have to be aware and prepared for different scenarios that may come up your way with the other team. However, if you just focus on your game, focus on your principles, focus on the things that you need to do, in all of the situations that I've been in, you're going to put yourself in a better position to win. And those are the best teams. Those are the Patriots teams. We always talk about the Patriots because why? They're a winning team. They're focusing on what they need to do. The Chicago Bulls, when they had Jordan and Pippen, they're focusing on what they need to do. Other teams, let other teams worry about how to stop you. You just worry about how to make sure that you're delivering the best and coming through with the things that are within your control, right? That's like executing your plays. We're executing on our end. We're not worried about whether or not they're going to execute theirs. So make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. And then we have this serenity prayer. God grant me this serenity. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'm going to repeat that one more time. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'm taking heed to all these different quotes in scripture. I'm taking heed to all of them. This is going to have us less stressed, less anxious, and more focused and more disciplined. For less stress, less anxious, we're not going to be focusing on the negative things, the perception of a negative outcome. What if this happens? What if that happens? No, we're going to be more focused and disciplined on the things that we need to do in order to control the situation and have that outcome that we're looking forward to have. So controlling the controllables, no matter what situation we're in, and remind ourselves of what we started off by saying, that life is what? Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we respond to it. Whether it's an argument at work, whether it's an argument at the airport, whether it's any situation that we're in, being focused on how we're responding based on what's in our control. And it goes beyond just how we respond. All right. I would actually, if I would add something to that quote. Life is 10% what happens to us, 90% how we respond to it. But I would give a little context to that quote. And I would say that the 90% of how we respond to it is based on the preparation that we put in. The preparation that we put in, and the preparation obviously is focusing on the things that are within our control. So how y'all going to respond today? How are we going to respond today? Let's maybe test ourselves, right? In all these lessons that we're learning, I like to put them to a test. So whether we're doing the OG 101 or we're doing the check-in, I think it helps us to identify how, let's say, this lesson can be impactful and how we can use it in our best interest by actually putting it to work. So throughout the day, let's say today, tomorrow, until the next check-in, all right, until next week, let's pay attention to certain situations that we get in. Can we be stoic when certain situations occur? As far as not responding emotionally, but just understanding exactly where we are, understanding the circumstances, understanding what's in our control, and moving on that. And both from a preparation standpoint, as well as when we actually get into the situation. All right. So the preparation before the game, in which we're focusing on ourselves, right? What do I need to do to prepare to make sure that I'm at my best? And then when the game comes, now we're just responding, right? We're responding to the circumstances that we're in, and we're using the preparation by focusing on ourselves to make sure that we are capable of responding in a way that's going to get us that win at the end of the day. So focus on different situations that we get in, whether it's road rage, right? How we respond to it. So something happens on the road when we're on our way to work today. How are we going to respond? Are we going to respond and get into an argument, and then an accident occurs, and now you're going into work, you're mad, you're upset, you're pissy for the first half of the day. Now you're getting into arguments at work because you're carrying that energy. Does it make sense? Control the controllables. Let the rest go. All right. So on that note, I'll let y'all go. Y'all have an amazing day. And let me actually just give y'all one more time. Well, I already gave y'all the link, but remember those quotes. Remember those quotes. I'm gonna tell you exactly where they are again, so that way you can tap into them. So the first one was Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. The next one is Epictetus. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. That's the Stoic philosopher. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. And the last one is the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Let's lock in. All right, we got enough to worry about as far as what's on our plate than worrying about something else. So lock in today, control the controllables, and I shall see y'all soon. Ew.